Do you know what this is? A Lego brick, one of the most iconic and revolutionary toys from the last century. Now, do you know what this is? This is not a Lego brick. This is an Ionics brick. And just like the Lego brick before, this tried to be one of the most revolutionary toys of this century. But it wasn't. Though not for a lack of trying. Looking back on it years later, the Ionics system was one of the most creative and interesting failed toys from the 2010s that truly deserves more recognition. So, this is the story of Ionics and the tragedy of Tenkai Knights, the failed Ninjago killer. Before we dive into the world of Ionics and their flagship line, Tankai Knights, we gotta understand the company that developed the product in the first place, that goes by the name of Spin Master. Spin Master, for those of you that don't know, is a Canadian company founded in 1994 by three friends, Ronan Harari, Anton Rabbi, and Ben Varadi, who after graduating university decided to start making toys together and quickly launched their first product, the Earth Buddy, which found a small yet incredible amount of success, making over $1.5 million in its first 6 months. The real breakthrough for Spin Master, though, came in 1998, when Spin Master launched Airhogs, a line of toy airplanes, but what made these toys special were the innovative use of compressed air to power the vehicle, demonstrating early on Spin Master's ability to combine technology and play in a way that resonated with children. Throughout the early 2000s, Spin Master continued to expand its product line and enter new markets, like in 2002, they introduced the Mighty Beans, a collectible toy that captured the trend of small, pocket-sized collectibles from the era, which was then followed by the Tech Deck, a line of miniature skateboards that embodied the skate culture of the time. But their biggest product was still yet to come. In 2007, Spin Master launched Bakugan, a multimedia brand with a TV show and toy line, the premise of which was very simple. Bakugans were a group of creatures from the planet Vestroya that landed on Earth after an evil force took over their planet. On Earth, the Bakugans took the shape of small marble-like spheres, and once placed on gate cards, the Bakugans could transform into their true forms. After partnering up with a group of humans, the Bakugans fought to save their planet. It's easy to say Bakugan was a hit, becoming Spin Master's most successful toy line ever, and solidifying its reputation as an innovative company with the ability to take a variety of successful concepts from the past and blend them to create something new. In the case of Bakugan, it was a blend of traditional trading card games mixed in with the collectible pocket monsters of Pokemon, a little bit of Transformers. You mix a genuinely great theme song and an action-packed anime, and that's how Bakugan becomes an iconic toy for this generation of kids. Which, to this day, I still have mine. But the toy industry is ruthless and works like a pendulum. For Spin Master, it took over 10 years for the pendulum to swing their way, but it wouldn't stay there for long. Enter Beyblade. When Hasbro and Takara Tomy relaunched Beyblade in 2009 with the Metal Saga, it quickly became the most popular toy. I vividly remember this change. In the second grade, all of my friends and I were playing Bakugans at recess, and in the third grade, everyone was playing Beyblades. And this really wasn't surprising, since Beyblade had an easier, much more streamlined play system that allowed for quick and fun matches to be played in any slightly concave surface. It also didn't help Bakugan that at the time, both animes were kinda similar, since both had energetic protagonists that shared a deep connection to each battling partner, as they travel across Japan fighting others and becoming the strongest battler. Heck, even those protagonists are also very similar to Ash from Pokemon, meaning the archetype was kind of becoming played out. By 2012, it was evident Spin Master needed to inject some innovation into their brands. Bakugan was a shell of its former self, relying on yearly gimmicks to push product, and even Beyblades now were outdated, with the new popular toy being, well, Lego. And I know it's hard for some people to understand this nowadays, but Lego wasn't always the giant in the industry it is now. While Lego has always been the most popular construction brand, there was a time where a lot of kids preferred traditional action figures and playsets over construction sets, It really wasn't until 2012 when LEGO began to take a more media-friendly approach with themes like Ninjago and superheroes. But again, in 2012, it really was the year of Ninjago. This was LEGO's first big multimedia brand since Bionicle that became a global phenomenon. Every kid in 2012 was watching Ninjago. It was a fun, fresh world with likable characters, an engaging story, and unique vehicles and creatures. And it even had a trading card battling game. Ninjago at the time was the pinnacle of toys, combining elements from both Bakugan and Beyblade, but with the added bonus of, well, LEGO, making it easily one of the most desirable toys for the time. And while LEGO was rising, Spin Master suffered a drastic decline in sales for the first time ever in the company's history. So the company restructured, aiming to focus on multimedia products and diversifying its product offerings with a mixture of licensed brands and original IP, since they had become too Bakugan reliant and needed to carve a new path in order to move forward. Realizing where the trends were heading, Spin Master decided to hop on the construction train, since at the time a lot of toy companies were developing their own construction brands, aiming to compete with LEGO's rise in popularity. That's when we got lines like Creo from Hasbro and Mattel bought Mega Bloks, among others. But this is Spin Master we're talking about. For the past 20 years, they had been a proven disruptor in the industry. They weren't just going to make construction sets compatible with the LEGO system and rip off the minifigure design like countless companies had done before. They were going to innovate. Enter Ionics, a brand new construction system that was compatible with LEGO, but this one had a twist. These were shape-shifting bricks, a concept that, to my knowledge, hadn't been done before, and credit where credit is due, Spin Master executed the idea perfectly. By themselves, these just look like regular bricks, but they could also transform into characters and creatures, being a very portable toys kids could take to schools or parks and play with their friends, following in the steps of what made Bakugan such a popular toy. Officially, Spin Master launched Ionics in late 2013, with an original IP called Tankai Knights, a new multimedia brand that aimed to capture the same audience Ninjago had captured just 2 years earlier, with a toy line, TV show, and video game. And while the early development of Tenkai Knights is currently unknown, judging by the traditional production timeline of toys, the development of these probably began in early 2012, just as brands like Ninjago and Skylanders were taking off, with the designs being finalized in early 2013 and mass production beginning in summer 2013. And the shape-shifting bricks themselves were pretty nice. You had 5 types of shape-shifting bricks: the minifigure bricks, the Titan bricks, the weapon bricks, the action bricks, and the power bricks. The minifigure bricks were the easiest to get since you could buy individual character packs, multi-packs, or the figures were also included in larger sets. One of the main building features advertised in the box was that you could combine the characters to create a mega weapon or vehicles, or even combine each other, expanding upon this idea of bricks coming to life. The transformation feature itself was perfect. It was simple enough that younger kids could do it, but not overly simple where it becomes too easy. Just the perfect number of steps. The Titan bricks also followed a very similar path to the minifigure bricks, these being bigger bricks that could shapeshift into significantly bigger characters. Though the cool thing about the Titan bricks was that they all reused the same body, but had different accessories, meaning you could swap parts between each other using the studs around each Titan. The weapon bricks, as the name suggests, were very to the point. These were bricks that could transform into guns, swords, or shields for characters or creatures to wield. And the action bricks were very similar to the weapon bricks. The main difference was that these could launch projectiles of some sort. The final bricks Ionics used were the power bricks. These could make some sort of sound or light up when activated. And to the credit of Ionics, the design and engineering of these shapeshifting bricks were phenomenal. Though, in order for a brand to succeed, the content needs to be equally as important as the toys. In the past, we've seen great toy lines get cancelled because of underwhelming content, but we've also seen great content carry terrible toy lines. And with Tankai Knights, that's where the product struggled. The Tankai Knights TV show actually predates the toy line for a few months, with the show dropping in August of 2013 and the toys releasing in November. And looking at the voice cast of the show, it's not bad. with notable names like Johnny Young Bosch, Yuri Lowenthal, Steve Blum, to name a few. The series itself was a co-production between Shueisha Productions and Spin Master Entertainment, being animated by Studio Bones in Japan. The show's plot centers around the Tenkais, a species of shape-shifting robots that escaped from their planet Quarton after it was taken over by an evil force. On Earth, the Tenkais took the form of plastic bricks that were found by a group of 4 teenage boys, who, after going through a portal, these kids could transform into the Tankai Knights, who now must fight the evil Vilius to take back Quarton and prevent him from taking over Earth. Now, does that sound familiar? I mean, yeah, it's literally Bakugan meets Lego meets Digimon Frontier and a little bit of Transformers. And personally, that's where the show lost me, because as a kid, the shows themselves look great. I remember watching the EvanTube reviews and just being in awe at the engineering and play gimmicks. I remember going to Toys R Us and buying one, but once I sat down to watch the show, I just couldn't get into it. Now, I do have a friend who is a fan and says it gets really good towards the end, but as someone who grew up with Bakugan, this just felt like a spiritual successor, but without any of the charm. And I might be reaching with my claim here, but as a child of the era, looking back on it now, Tankai Knights to me feels like a rushed attempt from Spin Master's end to compete with Ninjago. From the color-coded elemental heroes, the vehicles, and the creatures, and while looking around online, I'm not the only person to make this distinction. I think it's easy to say Spin Master executives looked at the incredible success LEGO was having with Ninjago and thought about doing the same. Up to that point, Spin Master had always proved to be a disruptive underdog that could enter a new market and dominate, like they had done before with the Air Hogs, the Mighty Beans, the Tech Deck, and well, Bakugan. But with the Tankai Knights and Ionics as a whole, it simply was a miss. They didn't take the time to establish a fan base or convert traditional LEGO fans into Ionics fans, or even develop a reason for why the shape-shifting bricks are better than traditional bricks. The marketing suggested these were a new generation, but to most fans, it was just a gimmick for the simple reason of being different. Though after purchasing some for the purpose of this video, I do have to reiterate, the transforming gimmick works flawlessly. The scale of these figures are great, but they're also just that. Outside of the transforming feature, there isn't much to them, and I can see some other kids getting bored of the gimmick fast. So, after a year in the market, Tankai Knights aired its final episode in December 2014, and while Season 2 was announced to be in development by official social media accounts, the show was cancelled after 52 episodes. Though its run was short-lived, it did garner a small but loyal community of fans that even raised a petition to ask Spin Master to greenlight another season, but in the end, their effort was unsuccessful. Despite the disappointment of Tankai Knights, it didn't really affect Spin Master in the long run. The restructure worked, and they managed to find an insane amount of growth in the following years with brands like Paw Patrol, Hatchimals, and How to Train Your Dragon. To me, the failure of Tankai Knights illustrates the dynamic nature of the toy industry. Spin Master is an extremely creative company, always looking to push and innovate the industry forward. And with Tankai Knights, they had a good premise, and the execution, I'd argue, while flawed in some aspects, it landed more than it missed. But in the end, Tankai Knights ended because, well, kids weren't watching the TV show. They weren't connecting with the characters, and most importantly, they weren't buying the toys. And as a toy designer, I think about these things a lot, because on paper, the concept is great. It's fresh and new, and when you test this type of product with kids, they love it. If you hand the kids these toys, they love it. But yet, all that research and development doesn't show up in sales data, because to me, companies always overlook little things when developing a toy line. And with Tankai Knights, I really do feel Spin Master overlooked what made toys like Bakugan and Ninjago special, which was really the characters, and opted to simply follow a formula to make something that looks fresh, but isn't. In the end, Tankai Knights really is just another name that sits forgotten in the graveyard of failure behind Spin Master's long-lasting success. But I will argue again, the toys are great, and you should definitely try to get your hands on them. But hey, that's just my big opinion. As always, I'm Ace. Thanks for watching, and take care.